Hello again, I'm Angie Santolo.
And I'm Anelia Wilson. Welcome back. We hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
This year marked the 60th anniversary of Lynn University. 60 years. Each year, the Lynn community celebrates that anniversary on November 1st with Founders Day. It is a day to reflect on the university's earliest day as a two-year college to its current status as a multifaceted international university. Valentina Morello was there.
One of the most anticipated events by the Lynn University community had a special touch this year. On November 1st, 2022, Lynn celebrated its annual Founders Day, but this year was more special than others since it celebrated 60 years since its foundation.
Founders Day means to me that celebrating another year that Lynn was founded. Since today's the 60th year, it's important to celebrate that as the first people that came to Lynn and help keep celebrating each year.
A day-long event filled with many activities for everyone to enjoy, from the classic three-wheeler race,
Go!
to carnival stands with rides and games. But we cannot forget the different food trucks that fill Christine's Park outside the University Center.
I think my favorite part about Founders Day is that everyone comes together and everyone is like celebrating, eating food, and just having a really good time.
My favorite part of Founders Day is the food trucks that are on campus and the banner contest that the clubs/organizations did.
Founders Day is an event and experience like no other for the Lynn community, also creating a sense of excitement for future events on campus.
Since I'm graduating in December, I look forward to any sort of event that's happening on campus so I can kind of take in before I leave forever. So I'm very excited for any event to come and I'll be there.
Yes, I look forward to two other ones. Last year, they did the barbecue cookout that I really loved, and the spring festival that's similar to this a little bit. Not Founders Day, but like the carnival rides and the carnival food. So I look forward to those two events besides Founders Day.
This year's Founders Day is one for the books, from activities and the joy of everyone who attended to a beautiful fireworks show to end the event. Valentina Morello, iPulse News.
And now, from our health desk, we have a number of reports. Number one is the COVID epidemic. It continues to be a big problem. Number two is that in addition to COVID, seasonal flu is back. Here's Andrea Carlos with our report.
Experts in the medical field is warning those in America for a rough flu season this year.
Winter's coming, and with the cooler, drier weather, you can expect some surges. The big question is how big a surge might they be?
This year's flu season will be higher than during the height of the pandemic because people are getting out more. RA RJ Hurd shares how residents' life will handle with those who test positive for the flu.
Cases are higher than expected, and as an RA, our job is to make sure students don't feel isolated on campus, and we have to keep checking in on them regularly and making sure that they are getting the attention that they deserve and need through this tough time.
Two students share if they are getting their flu vaccines.
Okay, so no, I'm not getting the vaccine because the strand of flu virus changes every year. So the likelihood of you getting it is still high even though you got the vaccine.
So yes, I will be getting the flu vaccination because as a student pilot, my health is my main priority. If I get sick, that's lost flight time for me.
It's important to wash your hands and stay healthy, and if you can, get your flu vaccine. I'm Andrea Carlos for iPulse.
To top it off, there is a third kind of infection that is going around. It is called RSV, which stands for Respiratory Syncytial Virus. It is an upper respiratory illness and seems to be affecting children around the country. There is no treatment or vaccine for the virus. Of course, it's also the fall allergy season, and there are some things you can do about that. Here's my colleague, Anelia Wilson, with some tips.
It's officially fall. That means color-changing leaves, pumpkins, and apple pickings. But it also means fall allergies. People will think they have the cold, but the thing about these colds is that they happen every single year. That is one way to know you're dealing with fall allergies. You can tell by common symptoms, including a runny and stuffy nose, itchiness, watery eyes, and sneezing. It happens for more than a couple of weeks and can go on for seasons at a time. Dealing with allergies may start with your pet, especially if they go outside. Sleeping with your pet is basically sleeping with the weeds from outdoors. So, keep your pets out of the bedroom, especially during this time of the year. There are 3 ways to ease allergies, including taking over-the-counter medication such as antihistamines and nasal sprays. An allergy shot may also help. You can also avoid what triggers symptoms. Make sure that windows are closed, and when you come in, shower to get all the pollen off. If none of these help, see an allergist, because there are other remedies that can be used. This is Anelia Wilson for iPulse News.
Thanks, Anelia. Now, in international news, China's tough zero-COVID approach to COVID, aimed at isolating every case into lockdown, has led to demonstrations within the country. Now, people around the world are demonstrating against the Chinese government's suppression of those protests. Chris Wynn reports for iPulse.
For the first time in decades, thousands of people have defied Chinese authorities, protesting at universities and on the streets of major cities, demanding freedom from the government's COVID lockdowns, as well as strict censorship. A rare show of dissent against the Communist Party's tightening grip over all aspects of life. Protesters in Hong Kong expressing their support for those on the mainland.
I think everyone who has a sane mind should say something or do something to stop this unreasonable social measure.
CNN has verified at least 20 protests have erupted in recent days across 15 cities on the mainland, including in Beijing and Shanghai. Demonstrators holding up sheets of white paper, symbolizing the critical social media posts and news articles that have been wiped from the internet. China's vast security apparatus moving quickly to prevent additional protests with heavy police surveillance. The Chinese economy continuing to take a hit.
They're still dealing with COVID the way we were dealing with it in 2020 in the spring, which is your choice is to shut down. And that is very disruptive to the supply chain, the internal economy.
The White House treading carefully, even as it tries to mend relations with Beijing.
People should be allowed the right to assemble and to peacefully protest policies or laws or dictates that they take issue with.
In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
Now, on to sports. On November 12th, the Lynn University men's basketball team had their first home game against the Johnson University Suns. Lynn basketball had lost their first game to FAU 46-81 on the road. Would this game give them a win? Our sports reporter Clifton Haskin reports.
On November 12th, the Lynn University men's basketball team had their home opener against the Johnson University Suns. The Fighting Knights had a tough road loss to FAU and looked for their first win of the season. Lynn's 14-man roster consists of 9 brand new freshmen and 5 upperclassmen. The Fighting Knights in white had a dominating start to their home opener. Lynn went ahead by nearly 20 points and made a series of 3-point shots. The Knights capitalized on every chance they got to score and ended the first half with a score of 53-38. Lynn continued their offensive onslaught into the second half, scoring back-to-back 3-point shots and easily creating offensive opportunities. The Fighting Knights bench erupted once they reached 100 points and won the game with a final score of 100-81.
You can see the bond of talent and skill with these young guys. It might take some time to develop, but the crowd loved it. I think everybody here enjoyed watching that youth enthusiasm and skill. So I think all in all, an excellent debut for these guys.
I'm Clifton Haskin for iPulse.
Sadly, a day after our game, on the night of November 13th, 3 members of the University of Virginia football team were killed and 1 person injured in a mass shooting, not during a game, but on a bus ride. The bus was carrying the group and other students from a night out in Washington. While there is evidence that the football team was targeted by the shooter, the motive is unknown. Clifton Haskin reports.
A traumatized campus coming together in grief. The University of Virginia mourning the shooting of 3 football players. The shooting shocked the campus.
Shootings occurred on a bus full of students returning from a field trip. 3 of the victims did not survive.
An intense manhunt began around Charlottesville for the suspect. Then the news broke out everyone on campus was waiting for.
We just received information the suspect is in custody.
Police identified the suspect as University of Virginia student Christopher Jones Darnell Jr. The 22-year-old was a freshman on the football team in 2018. Police said Jones was arrested about 75 miles from campus. The university identified the victims as Devon Chandler, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Deshaun Perry, all current football players. The students still mourning, among them Zoe.
I know a lot of people went to sleep very, very scared and woke up also more alarmed, and I, for one, was more alarmed because a really dear friend of mine was one of the victims, and that was really hard for me.
I'm Clifton Haskin for iPulse.
Our condolences to the University of Virginia community during this heartbreaking time. Turning back to Lynn News. Every now and then, we want to feature some of the professors who teach us. Tonight, meet a professor at Lynn who designs digital comic books. Mark Sparacio's books have been published and he is well known in this creative field. Reporter Allison Wallace went over to his office to see his work.
When did you first start writing comic books?
Okay, first start writing comic books was 2016.
What inspired you to make comic books in the first place?
Okay, when I was a kid, I was very athletic, believe it or not. You can't tell now, but I used to play a lot of sports and it blew out my knee. So, as a joke, one of my friends gave me a stack of comic books and I started reading them because I couldn't do anything else. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I like these things. And I wanted to start drawing them, and that's how I got into comics.
How long does it take you to make a comic book?
That's a great question. It takes quite a while. If I'm doing a 22-page book, it's gonna take me a couple of months to do it because I'm writing it and drawing it and doing painted covers for it. So it takes about 2-3 months. So what I'm doing with the 2 comic books I'm working on now is I've gotten 4 issues for each series done. And we're gonna try and do a few more before we release them. So I'm way ahead of my deadline.
Where can you purchase one of your comic books?
Okay, well, you can run to your local comic book shop and find them there, or you can go to AmericanMythology.net and order it online. Okay, use your phone to do it.
No wonder comic books and video games make more money than movies. That's all we have for today. I'm Allison reporting for iPulse.
Mark Sparacio is currently an artist in residence in fine arts. Now, some of our faculty are not as well known. They are behind-the-scenes people who put together the shows in the theater and our studios. They help students and faculty in a variety of different ways. They are unsung heroes. Meet our hero in the School of Communication and Design.
Lynn's College of Communication and Design has many people working behind the scenes, but none of those people are more crucial perhaps than the head of technology, Jazeel Ramos.
When I was a kid, I said I always wanted to be a chef. I love the kitchen. But then as I was applying to school, actually I got an email from another school that I was accepted for art. And it was for film department actually. And I went to school, I did the whole tour and everything. And then I started looking more into the aspect of film and animation and going into animation department and everything like that. So then I expanded to communications and tech crew and, with Lynn, all the drama and everything.
Overseeing the technology for an entire college is no easy task, however.
Well, definitely it's different. Like, it's not your regular office job where you just come to the office, sit down on a computer from 9 to 5. I get to work with a lot of students. I get to help them in the process of creating content, whether it's a film, whether it's communications. So I get to be part of this craziness of when the students have an idea, it's like how they can make it happen.
What does a typical day look like for someone who manages as many things as Ramos does?
Well, first, of course, coffee. That's needed in the morning. And then I get to my office, and then run down, the day with my employees, my student employees here at the office. Like, if we have any bookings, if we have any students coming in that day. And then, of course, check, how many equipment do we have left. So we are aware, like if student comes in, what do we have available. And then I run the floor, making sure that everything is working, that there's no problems in any classroom. And then I come back to the office, go through my emails, and then work as, in the videos edits, posting stuff in the websites for iPulse. I'm making sure that everything is still running during the day. And then once it hits 5, if it's a day that I close at 5, I go home, or sometimes I stay, pretty late working on other stuff.
Work isn't everything for Ramos. He still has time to do the things he loves.
I like school, I like learning, so I'm always willing to learn more of, things that are, the world is evolving, technology is evolving every single day. So I like to have the knowledge, so when I go to other students, I'm able to help them as well. And also in my personal life, just learn more. I feel like, every day we learn something new, and that's something that will help, not just my career, but as a person.
For iPulse, I'm Jonah Cole.
Another Lynn faculty member who deserves a shout out is Professor Roberto Echevarria, who teaches podcasting. Professor Echevarria believes podcasting has opened a new freeway for popular expression. In an information society, he says, the exchange of information is the main economy. Podcasting has become the currency. Let's watch.
Good morning! Hello everyone! Welcome back to episode 4 of the Judgment Free Zone Pod.
Podcasting is an increasingly popular pastime in the United States. The US leads the globe in podcast listeners. During 2021, 117.8 million people in the United States listen to podcasting on a regular basis.
It's almost like sex trafficking. Oh no, she said she felt like she's in an emotional prison.
37% of Americans listen to podcasts every month. Forecasts suggest that the number of podcast listeners will surpass 160 million people by 2023.
Do you like Tom Cruise as an actor, or why?
In August of 2022, the Communications and Design Department at Lynn University pioneered a accredited course teaching podcast productions. The state-of-the-art podcast booth includes 4 microphones, 3 cameras, and a media switcher, allowing for video inserting and live phone calls.
We'll also be able to save and replay memories with absolute.
Now, how big is the podcasting market? The global podcasting market is expected to reach $14.25 billion in 2021. Revenue forecast for 2030 is $94.88 billion. Sponsorships are the most common way podcasters make money. This is when the podcast promotes a sponsor during the show. You probably hear your favorite show plug their advertisers a few times in every episode. How much you earn from a sponsor depends on the number of downloads your episodes reach.
The demand for podcasting has grown so fast that Lynn is building a second podcast studio. And finally, in gaming news, it has been long awaited by Star Wars fans, especially those who have enjoyed continuing the adventures in the game LEGO Star Wars. A new edition of the LEGO Star Wars video game is out now. Valentina Morello reports.
I like this!
The galaxy far, far away gets bigger, or rather bigger, in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga Galactic Edition.
Most impressive.
The game collects the LEGO recreations of the 9 movies in the Skywalker Saga into a single experience, along with 13 playable character packs for even more LEGO minifigures to play as. As different streaming series continue to expand the Star Wars galaxy, so does the game, with expansion packs planned for release later in November, bringing characters from Star Wars Rebels, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, and the Book of Boba Fett to the game. LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga Galactic Edition is available now for current and next-gen game systems as well as PC.
Goodness gracious me. This is not the pod you're looking for.
Valentina Morello, iPulse News.
And that's our broadcast for today. I'm Anelia Wilson.
And I'm Angie Santalo. Please return next week for another edition of iPulse Live.